The NBA is currently full of insane talent from top to bottom, with players who are skilled in various areas of the game. So much so that there is a plethora of young talent in the NBA that are impressive and just as good as we've ever seen. Look man, the new kids on the block are having it too, and are making waves in the league, putting names out there for people to recognize and pay attention to. And some of these younger guys are already leaving a heavy impact on the game itself right now. So in this video, I'm going to go over the top 25 players under 25 in the NBA and go over where I think these players are all ranked currently. The criteria for my top 25 under 25 list was based on a few measures: the player's overall performance and production on the court. I was favorable to players with more years played in the NBA, their consistency as well, the player's role/impact on their team, and they had to have played in the 2022-23 NBA season. I also didn't include any rookies that hadn't been drafted yet, so no Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson, and they had to be under 25 by the end of June, the start of the new NBA calendar going into the new season. Now that you know the criteria, let's start with my honorable mentions. Immanuel Quickley from the New York Knicks, who's a very good defender with good offensive tools that make him a complementary addition in the backcourt. Jordan Poole from the Golden State Warriors, who is explosive on offense when in rhythm, and even though he had a down year, if he gets more consistent, it'll only benefit him, and he's still one of the better twitchy ball handlers in the game today. Wendell Carter Jr. from the Orlando Magic, a great defensive force inside who can finish around the basket. When he is healthy, he has a solid impact for his team. Keldon Johnson from the San Antonio Spurs, who is steadily improving with a bigger role on the Spurs and has shown flashes to be a premier two-way player in the game. And lastly, Kevin Huerter from the Sacramento Kings, the Red Mamba, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA and the ability to space the floor for others to create offensive opportunities for players on his team. To start off the list at 25, I have Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes has a unique physique and skill set that makes him a versatile four. He can pass, score, and defend multiple positions. I think he had a down year when you look at his efficiency, and he needs to develop his jumper and be able to work off the ball, which will help his game on the offensive end of the court. If he can't put it all together, he's going to be one of the few players who can be a triple-double nightly threat and be one of your better defenders on the court as well. But Scottie Barnes still has upside, crazy upside and potential to be a very, very great player in this game today. At 24, I have Anthony Simons from the Portland Trail Blazers. Look, Anthony Simons is a tough, efficient shot maker who could benefit from an increased role, but has already proven to be a great off-ball option here in Portland, where he posted career highs in his points and efficiency. Without Damian Lillard in the lineup this year, he averaged over 27 points per game, and he has high upside as an offensive threat in the future with his ability to catch and shoot and be a movement shooter from three. He does need to work on the defensive end in the defensive area, and he needs to be a better facilitator for others in the half court. But outside of that, Anthony Simons has proven to be a very, very good off-ball option, and I think in the future he could prove to be a very, very solid secondary piece with his off-ball ability and his efficiency in scoring the basketball, playing off of others. At 23, I have Alperen Sengun from the Houston Rockets. Alperen Sengun is one of the best passing big men in the NBA right now in only year 2, and he has some of the most amazing post footwork in the NBA that allows him to create disadvantages for the defense and create opportunities to score in the post in numerous ways. Though he wasn't utilized as the main hub for the Houston Rockets, whenever Sengun has the ball, he creates so many advantages for his team with his high feel, finding players on cuts, and creating advantages in the short roll opportunity, rolling off his screens, and at most time making the right decision to score or find an open man cutting to the basket. And I think in addition of a three-point shot is important for his game, which he's able to shoot, he needs to take more of those so that he can be able to space the floor for others on his team. But the Rockets have to utilize this guy next season and see what they have and tap into his potential that could possibly help the others on his team as well. At 22, I have Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look, Jalen Williams did come second in Rookie of the Year voting this year, but this guy has insane potential. You look at his incredibly efficient rookie season while being a reliable playmaker and defender for the Thunder. Jalen Williams was a huge catalyst to why they performed so well, especially performing in his role as a number 2 and at times a number 3 behind SGA and Josh Giddey. His efficiency was through the roof, and if he's able to build off that while still being the impact defender that he was this year, he is going to be a problem in the league. This might shock some people, but at 21, I got Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets. Now, I think a lot of people have a bad rap on Jalen Green, especially how the NBA media portrays him, how the NBA fans think of him. But Jalen Green is a talented, athletic 3-level scorer that has a skill set that a few stars in this game have. He is an incredible scoring talent when he gets into a groove. He has the most 40-point games and 30-point games from the last 2 NBA drafts, and when he does go out for high-scoring outputs, it's usually in an efficient manner that makes it otherworldly at times as well. I think the main gripes with Jalen Green is his consistency with his efficiency and his decisions as a playmaker. I think the offseason additions of him having weight training and the additions of Ime Udoka as a new head coach will have people eating their words when they talk about Jalen Green in the NBA. But if you've been paying attention to Jalen Green and not listening to the memes, you'd know that he's easily one of the most few talented players in the game right now. At 20, I have Tyler Herro from the Miami Heat. Now, Tyler's already made a name for himself in the NBA, winning the 6th Man of the Year award last year. And I think he's a great scoring threat as a movement shooter and in the half court when the ball's in his hands. He's a very good playmaker as well that can create out of the pick and roll and create defensive issues for many teams. The main gripe you may want to talk about with Tyler is the defensive side and if he can be a positive defender and hold his own. The question is, what is his role going to be in the near future and if he can expand from that. If he can, Tyler Herro is definitely going to be one of the better players in the game, could possibly make an all-star appearance one day if he's able to reach his full potential. But Tyler Herro is a very, very good player. At 19, I have Cade Cunningham from the Detroit Pistons. Now, I contemplated adding Cade on this list or leaving him out due to the fact he only played 12 games this season and missed the entire season due to an injury. But when I looked at his entire tape from his first 2 seasons in the NBA, he's clearly a great floor general who has a vision to set up others for scoring opportunities, and has great size and IQ as a defender as well. He can fill the stat sheet and has an impact in winning in a various amount of ways. I think the main thing we talk about with Cade right now is his efficiency as a scorer, and it's not as great as it should be. He has the tools to be a 21 point per game scorer, but there's still a lot to see with his game due to the fact he missed his sophomore season due to an injury. But going into this next season, I definitely think Cade Cunningham is still one of the top 25 players in the league, even when he's not as an efficient scorer as he will be in the near future. At 18, I have Josh Giddey from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Josh is one of the best young passers in the game right now, and is a nightly triple-double threat, and had 7 this year, which ranked top 10 in the NBA. He's a smart player on and off the ball, knowing when to cut and move without the ball, and his improvement in his jumper will unlock his full potential, which he did in this season. What I really want to see from him going into year 3 is the ability for him to be a knockdown shooter, and if he can be able to improve his jumper and become even more respectable in year 3, Josh Giddey is going to be a problem for defenses to deal with his ability to playmake for others and score for himself as well. At 17, this may shock some people, but I got DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, for his first 5 years in the NBA, has been an 18 and 10 guy, a double-double nightly, and can finish around the rim, but it still feels like there's more to see with his game. He's not a defensive anchor, but he has filled in his role for the Suns for what they need him to do, alongside Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and the addition of Kevin Durant. But it all comes down to DeAndre Ayton showing us that in the game, but I gotta give respect to a guy who's been a nightly double-double for the entire tenure of his 5-year career so far. At 16, I have Nick Claxton from the Brooklyn Nets. Now look, Nick Claxton is a premier switchable big who could protect the rim at an elite level. He arguably could have made an all-defensive team this year, and he's also a great finisher under the rim with his athleticism and is a willing passer in the half court. The main problem is free throws. You got to make some free throws. But Nick Claxton's ability, especially with his wiry build, he's able to switch onto many different positions at the wing position, and sometimes bigger guards, and even with his small frame, can still hold his own amongst some centers who are a little bit bigger than him as well. But Nick Claxton is a prototypical big in today's game that can catch and finish lobs and still protect the rim at an elite level. At 15, I have Jaden McDaniels from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Look, if you don't know about Jaden McDaniels, J-Mac, you need to pay attention. He is a defensive weapon at 6'9", who can guard multiple positions at an elite level. He's the only player this season with over 70 blocks and 70 steals, and was 12th in defensive team voting this year. His offensive potential is also growing as well. He shot around 40% from 3 on 4 attempts this year as well. My main gripe is easily he needs to reduce the fouling. But if he can reduce that and improve on his offensive game and still give you the same elite impact on defense, he's going to make multiple all-defensive teams and will be an impact player for many teams that want to win and succeed in the NBA. At 14, I have Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic. Now look, Franz is a guy that I call Mr. Consistent because he's an efficient two-way player, versatile on offense, on the ball and off the ball, and can defend at a very, very good level as well. He gives you everything that you need to see from the wing forward position in today's game. He's a high field player, and many people underrate his game just because he isn't talked about enough, especially in the 2021 draft class that features Jalen, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham. He's going to be an impact player in the game for many years to come. He can self-create for himself, play make as well, and is an impact defender when need be. At 13, I have Tyrese Maxey from the Philadelphia 76ers. Look, Tyrese Maxey is the Energizer Bunny on offense. He can score in bunches and is an elite catch and shoot shooter in the game right now. He shot over 43% from 3 this season, and whenever Harden or Embiid had to take a step back or were injured, Maxey was able to fill in that number 2 option as a scorer and has produced fairly well in that aspect as well. He's already a great off-ball player at his size and can put pressure on the rim even as a second option like I mentioned before. He needs to work on his playmaking bag to broaden his offensive skill set, but if you look at Tyrese Maxey is definitely a very solid young player in the offensive end, and I think there's a lot of untapped potential with his playmaking bag that can make him an even bigger threat on the offensive end in the near future. At 12, I have Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Evan is an elite rim protector and multi-positional defender, and in year 2, he's already in talks of becoming one of the few players who can win Defensive Player of the Year awards in the next few seasons. He is a ceiling raiser on defense, but a complementary piece on offense, and is able to finish around the rim and roll to the basket when need be. And even with his below average self-creation on offense and hasn't been able to stretch the floor, his defense makes up for any of his offensive mishaps right now. He is a future multi-defensive player of the year winner if he stays on track, and I think once he adds on a little weight, he'll be even more dominant around the rim, which will make him that much greater on the offensive end while being such elite and such a problem on the defensive end that he already is. At 11, I have Paolo Banchero from the Orlando Magic. Now, Paolo went number 1 in last year's draft and took the league by storm and won the Rookie of the Year award as well. He has incredible size at 6'10" to attack the basket, to score, and run the offense when needed. He was top 5 amongst all rookies this season in points, rebounds, and assists. And if you're a subscriber to my channel, you know about the video that I posted about Paolo Banchero about 2 months back and how amazing his rookie season really was. But he clearly has a high feel and has a vision to set up other players on the Magic with his ability to put pressure on the rim and his passing regimen to find guys open on cuts. But Paolo Banchero is easily a player that could definitely take the league by storm if he hits his potential very soon. He's gonna be a problem, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the top 10, and if you are still watching, definitely leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me give a word to Manscaped, the sponsor of today's video. Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, and even I use it today. Whether it's for you, for your father, or for someone else, join over 8 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped, and with this exclusive offer for you, get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code DJStevo at manscaped.com. They might even throw in 2 free gifts for you as well once you use that code. Again, get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code DJStevo. Thanks again to Manscaped for sending me the Performance Package 4.0. Let's get back into the video. At 10, we have LaMelo Ball from the Charlotte Hornets. Now look, LaMelo Ball is easily one of the few crafty young players in the game right now and is a floor general with amazing passing vision. He was an All-Star last year and won the Rookie of the Year award winner in his rookie season. Even with his passing regimen, he shot 37% from 3 on 10 attempts this past season and knocked down around 4 3-pointers a game. However, he only played in 36 games this year due to injury. LaMelo was slightly inefficient compared to his first 2 seasons, but that may be due to the fact that he took so many 3-point shots around his game this year. I still think he's one of the best young players, despite the Hornets not being as good as they once were in the past 2 years. And I think that once they add in the top 2 pick, it's only going to help LaMelo Ball's game, and you're going to see him perform at a higher level that we expected once LaMelo Ball entered the league. At 9, I have Darius Garland from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, Darius Garland was an All-Star last season, and I think he's a prototypical point guard in the NBA who is reliable from deep as a shooter, but can also get his own as a scorer as well. He's made massive improvements from his rookie season where he didn't look like a special talent in the game, but since then, he's improved his entire skill set, has been much more lethal as a scorer, attacking the basket, and as a second option on the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's been able to hold his own, especially behind Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a very talented floor general who can make many All-Stars in the near future. And DG, at times, with his upside, has shown flashes of being one of the best players in the 2019 NBA draft. At number 8, I have Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacers. Now, Tyrese was an All-Star this season, made All-Rookie first team in his rookie season, and I think with his passing game, he actually manipulates the defense with how he passes. And in the pick and roll, his skill set is some of the best in the NBA, especially with his ability to find an open man like I mentioned before, and his elite 3-point shot making that stuns the defense. I think he's incredibly efficient as well as a scorer, even though he may not pop off as much as many of the other players on this list. But if we get an aggressive Tyrese Halliburton with his passing regimen going into next season, it could be a very scary sight for what Tyrese Halliburton could turn into as he develops in the NBA, as he improves in the NBA in the near future. But Tyrese is definitely a player who you could see make a lot of all-star appearances, and possibly an all-NBA appearance if the Indiana Pacers turn out to be a very, very talented team in the future. At number 7, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies. Triple J is the best young defensive asset in the NBA right now. As a rim protector, a roamer on defense, and as a switchable big man, he is a problem on defense and why he won the Defensive Player of the Year award this year. He shoots 35% from 3 and can score when need be in a reduced role, and I think that he has an okay touch around the rim, but he has also shown to be able to pop off as a scoring threat alongside Ja in a reduced role like I mentioned. I think the bigger concern with Jaren Jackson Jr. is his injury concerns and his improvement on offense and his post work that can only open up his game on the offensive end. But outside of just the offensive end, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s defense is what you rave about him. He's a 2-time blocks leader, 2-time first-team all-defensive team member, and an all-star this previous season. Jaren Jackson Jr. is on pace to be one of the best defensive prospects of this era if he can stay healthy. At 6, this is gonna shock y'all, but I got Zion Williamson. Now look, Zion Williamson is already a 2-time All-Star and All-Rookie first-team member. When we talk about being a generational player, he is a generational athlete and play finisher who finishes his food at the basket. He's elite at slashing, which creates advantages for his teammates in New Orleans. When he's on the court, the Pelicans are a completely different team and are arguably one of the best teams in the West with a healthy Zion Williamson. Only thing holding him back currently is injuries. Since he's been drafted, he hasn't played in over 60% of his NBA games that he was available for. I'm hoping Zion Williamson is getting over this injury bug, but when he is on the court, he is arguably one of the best talents the game has to offer, especially under 25. And if he is able to get on the court next season and stay healthy, Zion Williamson's impact will be felt amongst everyone in the league as a player who finishes everything around the basket once he gets a foot into the paint. Starting off with the top 5 players under 25, I have Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young is a 2-time All-Star and an All-NBA third-team member as well, and I think he's one of the best offensive players and engines in the NBA with his incredible passing repertoire that can dissect any defense that creates advantages for his team, and also as a scorer at his 6'1" frame. I think the biggest thing that plays against Trae Young is his small frame, which allows defenses to go right at him, and I think at times his three-point efficiency can be a little under than what we expect. But as a scorer, Trae Young has proven to be adequate in that area. The Trae Young disrespect needs to stop. This is one of the best offensive talents we have in the game, and even with his size, it's incredible what he's able to do as a passer and as a scorer in a game that's predicated on your athleticism and your size. At 4, I have Anthony Edwards. Look, Anthony Edwards is a special scorer with his size to put pressure on the rim. He has a huge frame and can stretch the floor from 3. He's bringing back the 2-guard position back into the NBA, and I think Anthony Edwards has proven to be the bright spot in Minnesota. He has athletic gifts that make him a problem to contain in transition and in the half court. I think the few things you talk about is just him being just a little bit smarter as a playmaker and his shot selection, especially from deep, where he shot a lot of 3-pointers over the past 2 years. But he's still supremely gifted as a scorer and has the tools to be a great defensive player as well. Is easily one of my favorite players to watch, and I think that from what we've seen so far, he's only scratching the surface of what he's going to produce and be in the NBA, and if he continues on pace, he's going to have a very, very special career. My top 3, number 3, we got Ja Morant from the Memphis Grizzlies. Look, Ja Morant is otherworldly athletic. Like otherworldly. He has an insane ability to get to the rim even when you don't expect it, and can make you pay if you try to stand under the rim. Look, we've seen the highlight tapes. And he can make the defense fold at it with his driving ability and the opportunities that he creates for his team. He's also a very smart passer that goes underrated, and he looks to get others involved, especially in the half court, coming off the screens of Steven Adams and finding guys open once the defense has to contain his driving ability. He is deadly in transition, a transition player who is going to find the basket or an open teammate on the break, and I think he's improved his jump shot over time. We could talk about the off-court issues. I made a video about that before, and I think that's one of the big black spots of looking at how Ja Morant's tenure in the NBA so far. But outside of his off-court issues, Ja Morant is arguably a top 20 talent in the league right now, and clearly one of the best players we have under 25 in the NBA. At number 2, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai popped off this season. He was amazing the entire season. He has an amazing touch around the rim, and damn near had an historic level of paint scoring that we've never seen, especially at the guard position. And he has an insane bag of scoring tricks to score on drives, his change of pace, and in the mid-range, while being an amazing on-ball defender for his team. He has the total package of a two-way player with top 10 scoring ability while being insanely efficient, being one of the top scorers in the game, while having one of the top true shooting percentages in the NBA as well. He can guard your best defender and also still score on your best defender. SGA is a problem. I think the one thing we'll talk about is if he can keep it up after having such a great season and making All-NBA first team, but SGA is the future of Oklahoma City basketball, and if you're an Oklahoma City fan, you have to be super excited for what is in store with SGA as your leader for the future. And at the number 1 position, the best player under 25 in the NBA, come on now, y'all know who it was. Luka Doncic has made a historic impact on offense that we've ever seen from a player entering the NBA. He is a legendary offensive talent, has been a 4-time All-Star, a full-time All-NBA first-team member, and won the Rookie of the Year award in 2019. Luka Doncic is an offensive hub of the likes of a prime James Harden, a LeBron James, and Stephen Curry. He is just that good. Even though he did miss the playoffs this year, it's still arguably a top 5, top 6 player in the game right now. There's not much to say about Luka Doncic. We've been watching him play for the past few years, and you guys knew who the number 1 player would be on this list. But Luka is Luka, and hopefully the Mavericks are able to put a little bit more adequate pieces around him for them to succeed this year. But even with that being said, Luka Doncic is good enough to put them in a position to succeed with his ability as a passer, as a scorer, as a playmaker, and with his high IQ on the offensive end. You know what it is. But that concludes my top 25 under 25 list. Look guys, I already know some players were not on this list, and best believe I understand that these guys are just as good. It's only 25 spots, and I couldn't put everybody on there, but I think this just goes to show that there is so much young talent in the NBA right now, and the NBA's future is in great hands. But if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Definitely turn on that post notification bell so you never miss a video, and let me know down in the comment section which players do you think should have made the top 25 list and what you guys think about the list as well. Again, until next time guys, stay on beat.